Welcome back to the Wrestling Related Podcast, where the topics are all about wrestling and we are related to each other, or something like that. I'm Josh.
I'm Dustin.
And I'm Corey.
And in today's episode, you guys are going to get our reactions to AEW / New Japan Wrestling's Forbidden Door, as well as our predictions for the upcoming WWE Money in the Bank 2024. Fellas, I guess before we do anything, I should say that the king of predictions is no longer the king. I have officially been dethroned. Corey won.
Okay.
Huh? Corey won. He has officially dethroned me. And you know what? It came down to one of the very last matches that was even announced. It was that silly Willow Nightingale and Nakano versus Statlander and the Watanabe. Like, I had no idea who either of those ladies were.
Gesundheit.
Exactly.
Well, let me add in here. I didn't get to watch the pay-per-view. However, I did watch somebody else's recap of what happened at the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I want to watch the pay-per-view because of some of the matches and the happenings. However, Statlander apparently got the name of her partner and the other partner mixed up at one point. At one point in time, she's like, "What you gonna do now?" And about using the name of her partner instead of the opponent, and so I mean, you were confused about who's who. Apparently, you weren't the only one.
Apparently, so was Statlander.
That's very understandable. The only Japanese name I remember is Takamichinoku. That's the only one I remember.
Woof.
Funaki.
Funaki.
Yeah, so that was the big one that really set things apart. And you know, we fortunately didn't need to come down to the tiebreaker, but it was a good thing that you had won that one, because had it come down to the tiebreaker, the only tiebreaker we threw in there was who we thought that sixth man or was going to be in the ladder.
And nobody got that.
Well, no, we didn't get it ahead of time. But then we made our last minute decision once they announced it was either ELP or AR Fox. And I had picked ELP on that one. El Phantasmo. ELP.
Oh, is that what that match was supposed to be?
Yes. Yeah,
I didn't know that. I wasn't following that at all.
And when I thought we were only going to have 14 matches on that card.
Only?
Yeah, I thought there were only 14 matches. Who knew? Last minute, they throw in a 15th match for us, and we got Kyle Fletcher versus Serpentico.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I'm watching the recap, and I'm like, who are these yahoos? Yeah. I don't remember this match.
Serpentico's hilarious.
Serpentico's hilarious. Kyle Fletcher is so good. And I will say that was one of my highlights of watching the whole pay-per-view, was seeing Kyle Fletcher kind of be there with Will Ospreay. He was doing that a little bit last week, and so then to see a little bit of that back and forth, it's giving me hope that we're going to see the United Empire come back. Because there was a third member, and I can never remember his name. I want to say it was like a Mark or a Mike, and for some reason I'm just drawing a blank. And he's been out with an injury. So... Okay. It'll be good to see them.
He's
back.
The bigger guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's pretty good.
So, yep, that'll be good. Anything else that you guys saw in that?
I won.
You won. I won. So if Dustin is the PPV / PLE prediction title holder, whatever the belt is, and I've got the king of predictions, does that mean you're the prediction cup crown winner or something like that? I think you do need a really big trophy that takes up like your whole screen.
No.
You could get a dog and then just show the dog's butt and the sun shining, because that's the only time he's going to win is when the sun shines on dogs. But
see, I changed my approach. Instead of voting for what I wanted to happen, I voted for what I thought would happen.
Right. I think now that I have lost, I'm going to change my approach, and I'm just going to predict what I want to happen rather than what I think will happen. And we'll see how bad that will go.
No. I'm here to speak on behalf of that, and that doesn't work out very well.
It doesn't work so well. All right, so Forbidden Door. Anything huge kind of standing out? I mean, obviously, we don't want to run down the entire card because 15 matches is a lot, and we've all got places to go and things to see and whatnot. But, yes, Corey, the return of Britt Baker, DMD.
And let's just say that kind of brings me into the one of the two things that I wanted to talk about. And that was Monet against Stephanie. Stephanie out-wrestled. Stephanie won the crowd over more so than Mercedes.
Agreed.
And at one point, Mercedes was dumbfounded when the audience started booing her. And she stands there on the sidelines and just like, how do I react to this?
Agreed.
The only thing I really wish should happen, and I understand why it doesn't, but, you know, WWE does this to a point. They did it with The Rock. You know, when The Rock came out, he's the good guy and everybody's excited. And then all of a sudden they started saying Rocky sucks, Rocky sucks. They flipped. They changed the direction on what they were going with him. And they ended up going down the final boss thing, and he's now a heel, that type of thing. And it worked great.
Yep.
The only thing I wish that the companies would do is when you hear the audiences, especially right now, the audiences are so good. I mean, these guys are responded. Listen to your crowd. Listen to your audience. Make an audible. Hey, Stephanie was outperforming, out-wrestling the Mercedes Moné and beat her. As far as I'm concerned, she won.
Yeah.
But they had to go right into the finish, let Mercedes win, get her 2 title belts. Totally disagree with that, but I'm not the one signing the paychecks, and I understand you spent $10 million on her. You wanted to win something.
Agreed. 2 things with that. One, I heard that, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard that the announcers were trying to play that off, saying, oh, well, this Monet is from New York, and this is a heavy Boston crowd, so yeah, they don't like New Yorkers around here. They tried to play that off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vice versa, but yeah.
It's not like Stephanie was Boston. Or whatever.
Correct.
I mean, it's not like she was the other. I mean, she's from Mexico or originally Venezuela or something like that. The other thing is recently in the last week, TMZ had a thing on Monet where she caught her saying that she has creative control over her character.
Yeah.
So the double title, which is always a bad idea. So the double title was her idea.
Well, yeah, and I don't know. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what the contract on that looks like. I remember hearing something early on when it came to AEW forming that the one thing they said is nobody will ever get the Hulk Hogan treatment. There were wrestlers that do have a limited creative control, but not an absolute creative control.
Young Bucks.
And yeah, and if that's the case, it's like I mean, we'll see where it goes. My only thought with that, because I was kind of right there with you, Dustin, especially through the whole time, and then it started to at the very end when Britt Baker came out. All of a sudden, I was like, wait a second, are they already turning Mercedes heel? And if that's the case, did they already do what we're talking about? And they already saw the writing on the wall. They've already been listening to the internet wrestling community. They've already been hearing some of the rumblings at the live show. And they're like, if we bring Britt back, she's going to be the face. Mercedes will be heel. Let's just go ahead and do this. And so maybe it's a case that they already saw the writing on the wall and they're like, okay, the crowd wants to run this way. let's go ahead and run this way.
Brit.
And because, I mean, there have been a couple times over the last 3-4 months that I think we've all been wondering, why isn't Britt back? You know, but now it's like, oh, if Mercedes comes in with this big paycheck and she takes both belts, and it gets leaked about creative control, yeah, she's already going to have all of that heel energy on her.
Right.
So, yeah, and that's the other thing. It's like, who knows how much of that is a work, how much of it is a shoot. The wrestling business has been known to leak things just to get people talking.
No.
And speaking of Stephanie, let's go back about a day or 2 days earlier. I don't remember whether it was Rampage or whether it was Collision, when she was taking on Lady Frost.
Yeah,
that was
handstand on the ring apron, and then she kicks her in the face. Lady Frost ate that. She ate that so well. Yeah, I mean, you see the referee immediately going down there. Are you okay? Just immediately.
Yeah, I had never watched a full match of Stephanie Vaquer. I've seen some highlights and stuff like that, and looked good. But yeah, seeing these last couple matches of hers, she can work.
I'm impressed.
She can work really well. So yes, that was definitely good. I enjoyed it. Yeah, that was the match itself better than I thought it was going to be. I didn't have my expectations really up there. It was better than I thought it was going to be. The other women's match, Toni Storm versus Mina Shirakawa, I did expect that to live up, and it did, and it was good.
Good.
Personally, I could have done without the 3-way kiss at the end, but the gimmick was fun, and I was kind of wondering what they were going to do. Like, how are they going to... You've got Mariah May kind of in the middle of this. Like, if they go ahead and do this split and the turn, it's going to cause this friction. But the fact that Mariah brings them together, it's like, oh, so we're going to be dragging this out for a little while longer.
3-way women's championship.
Wasn't there talk not too long ago about doing a women's trios?
I don't remember, but maybe. There's always talk of so many different things.
Maybe it was one of the umpteenth million YouTube videos that I was watching. It was like, oh, talk of this and talk of that, and stuff that never happens.
Yep.
Could be. And maybe...
Wishful thinking on someone else.
Yes. Maybe my highlight of the whole Toni Storm, just Toni Storm from Forbidden Door, was the post-media scrum.
Didn't watch it yet.
Oh, it's hilarious. She wrote herself, came up with this all on her own, and had to pull out her notes, and it was like, oh, beautiful, for spacious skies, and amber waves of grain, for purple mountains majesty. She just does that, and it was hilarious. And then she gets up and she's like, that's all the time I've got. I'm not answering any of your questions. I'm gone. And then just like leaves.
That's awesome.
Comes out, does a bit, and it was hilarious. Did bring out, obviously Mariah was with her, but brought out Mina Shirakawa as well. And they were chummy, buddy, and it was just like, okay, this is going to carry on for a little while. That's good TV.
So I remember seeing Toni Storm from some clips from a few years back. I was like, okay, no big deal. This gimmick, I mean, I can't take my eyes off her. It's just
correct.
It's just the chemistry and the charisma is just like oozing right through the screen.
Yep.
I mean, the exact polar opposite of Jack Perry. I mean, just
fair. Yeah, she is the must-see TV.
Absolutely.
So, what else from the pay-per-view really jumped out that you enjoyed, didn't enjoy, etc.?
So these pay-per-views obviously always go long, very long. Sunday, I did not watch it and start it on time. It was my wife and I's 23rd anniversary. Love you, hon. But she had some other things to do, so I got to watch a little bit late and start it. And most pay-per-views, I start dozing off, so I have to stop it and finish it the next day or 2 days later. When it come to the main event, deserved every kudos for a main event. Yeah. That main event was amazing.
Yeah,
I will go back and I will watch that one. Kind of like the Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay. I watched that a couple, 2 or 3 times. I will watch Swerve and Ospreay again.
Yep,
it was that good.
It was good. I heard a report I think it was today that I saw this coming out, where Will Ospreay had said he had heard all of the talk about how Swerve is just a placeholder champion until Will Ospreay gets there. And he wanted to do this. Like, he wanted to go in, have that match, and get pinned. Like, he wanted to do the job because Swerve deserves this, and he's not just a placeholder.
Right.
And it's like, and I kind of wonder how people that have actually watched Swerve wrestle think that. He's never really had the push, but he can work a mic. He's got a character, and he can work in the ring. And so it's like, why would you think he's anything but?
It is.
And honestly, for my personal taste, I think everybody, doesn't matter who it is the placeholder until MJF gets it. Like, MJF made that belt so much more than what I thought it could be. Like, I don't think of any of the other AEW world champions. MJF is at the top of that list now. And I can't fathom somebody knocking him off that peg. So I think everybody is. I would much rather watch a Swerve and MJF match than even a Will Ospreay MJF. And that's me boldly saying that with me preferring Will Ospreay over either of the two. But I want to see MJF versus Swerve. Because I don't know what's actually going to happen in that. And I think that their styles are going to collide in a more enjoyable way.
So I want to go out and say, kudos to Will Ospreay. If you stop and look at Will Ospreay since he's come to AEW, he's had people like Will Hobbs. He's had people like Brian Cage. He's had some of these guys that they really haven't had, they've had solid matches, but nothing fantastic. But when they end up getting in the ring with Will Ospreay, he brings them up to a different level. Swerve, he brought him up to a different level from an indie Iowa scene type of thing. I look at like Austin Aries. When Austin Aries was wrestling along with us, you wrestle him, he brings your performance up to another level. Will Ospreay's just even higher. He brings everybody he works up to a better level, and that's what I have yet to see a bad match that he's been in yet. And yeah, I can see Swerve against MJF, but I'd still like to see Ospreay against MJF. I still think that'd be great.
I want to see it. I just want to see Swerve versus MJF even more. And I will say that Ospreay, he seems to bring the best out of everybody, and maybe it's just because he's so adaptable. Maybe it's because he's just spent so much time in Japan, and there are so many different styles to collide with over there, that maybe that's just given him the experience that he really needs, so now he can walk in and just work anybody.
And I wouldn't mind seeing a 3-way between all 3 of them.
Oh, that'd be good.
That'd be really good.
Either way, any combination of those 3 is going to be money. It's going to be worth watching. So.
Yeah, and then I was thinking there was only one other thing that I really, really enjoyed, and I hope it's not it was the first time we ever got to see it. I don't think any Lucha Libre fans ever thought it was going to happen. We got to see the Lucha Brothers teaming up with Mystico. Like, AAA guys and a CMLL guy on the same team. Like, what? How? And everything I hoped it would be, it was so good. And I hope that that's not the last that we get to see out of that trio. because that trios match was so good.
Is that the one that they used to kick off the pay-per-view? Is that the first match?
Possibly.
I don't remember where it fell in the card.
Yeah, I can't remember where it fell in the card because of 15 matches, but
I think that was
MJF versus Hechicero was the opening match.
Right.
It was the opener?
Yeah.
That was the opener.
Yeah.
Ooh.
MJF versus Hechicero was the opener of the pay-per-view. Yeah, there were 5 0-hour matches and then that one, yeah.
I either way, either one of those matches, I mean, you're starting it off hot. I mean, let's hit the ground running.
Yeah. So good. But yeah, to see those guys in there, and you know, with like Mystico, because I remember watching him, you know, back there, early career, you know, watching like the what was it? It was AAA back then he was with, if I remember right. Or was it CMLL? Okay. Yep. So watching him back there with CMLL and then even catching him a little bit when I was getting back into it when he was in WWE as Sin Cara, and it was like, okay, but they're not utilizing him the way that he should be, and just kind of burying him. And it's like, this is a waste of a talent. Yeah, so to see him back, and it's like, it doesn't look like he's missed anything, and it was so good. So, yep, loved it. Good pay-per-view, all in all. Yes, watch it. Very enjoyable.
I will have to.
Yeah.
I will have to. I mean, my first win on here, so yeah, of course I'll have to watch it.
Yep, very enjoyable. Oh, Danielson and Takagi, I almost forgot about that one. That was good.
How can you forget it?
Dustin's eyes open like saucers. Oh, doggy.
Yeah, that was good. That was brutal. And every time I see Danielson in some of these matches, especially in this last year, I'm like, okay, you said this was going to be your last year of full-time wrestling, but you don't have to put your life on the line like this. Like, no, you don't need to break your neck. Stop it.
We were talking about that with Adam Copeland not too long ago. Like, he comes on AEW and he has to be in every single match, every single show, gotta be busting his hump and doing all these weird, crazy things that he's never done before, and it's like, makes you wonder, did you get like a bad medical report that you like, okay, I've only got like 6 months, let's do this.
Right. Yep.
I mean,
but I am glad to see you know, how the Owen Hart Cup tournament is progressing. I think we've got tomorrow night I think is when we find out the next round, because it's supposed to be Jeff Jarrett against the wild card of the elites picking. I'm not quite sure who that's going to be, but I'm getting a kick out of the Owen Hart Cup tournament. So yeah, should be pretty fun.
And the final for that's at Wembley, right?
No. The final for that is in like 2 weeks. The winner of that gets a title match at Wembley.
Okay.
Yeah, the winner of the men's and the winner of the women's, I believe, get the title match at Wembley at All In.
Wow.
So, who knows? Maybe the Elite is going to pull Nigel McGuinness out from the booth.
You wish.
You know it's going to be Nigel against Danielson in Wembley.
At some point, it has to happen. The way they keep going, it has to. Because Nigel just keeps relentless. Keeps at it. So, yeah. Hey, before we get into Money in the Bank predictions,
okay.
SmackDown and Raw, specifically SmackDown from last week.
SmackDown.
Oh.
Heyman made the show.
If there was ever a time in the history of professional wrestling that it deserved an Emmy, it is right now, and it is Paul Heyman.
Yeah,
give 100%. That man an Academy Award. The storytelling that he has been doing, the facial expressions, just the emotion that evokes, the pain on his face. Oh,
the fear when he's up on the shoulders for the power bomb. I think it was real fear because he knew what was going to happen.
Yeah,
but
and then took it
so good.
and took it. But yeah, that was fear, because like it was to the point I see his face and I was like, Paul, you know these guys have got you. But it was like, oh, he's still just, I mean, yeah, he was so afraid. I was surprised there wasn't brown streaks going down somebody from him, because that was just crazy. Yeah.
Let's just, no, never mind. I'm not going to say something. Corey's going to watch the pay-per-view, so there's something else. Let me just say, tables break easy in WWE. And all I'm going to say is the main event.
Oh no, I saw a clip of the swerve stomp.
And the table didn't.
And the table didn't budge. And Osprey like kind of hopped up a little bit, and I'm like, oh, you really want to? Oh, okay, there you go. That's how you do it. Okay.
Yep. I think they sometimes do that just so they can get a chance to be on Botchamania for the I Am the Table segment. I think that's what they're trying to do. Let's make sure we reinforce these just so we'll be on there. No, SmackDown, dude, the whole Bloodline thing, it's good. Bloodline 2.0 is in desperate need of a win, though.
I saw a meme of Bloodline from, say, a year ago. Mm-hmm. And they were like, Amazon Bloodline. And then the current 2.0 is Wish Bloodline.
pretty much.
Oof.
It definitely felt that way before they brought Jacob Fatu in. You bring Jacob Fatu in, and now it's like, oh.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Let's see what happens.
Okay, so just a question for you two, and I'm going to say what I did. When I saw Heyman go through, did either one of you immediately think Roman's going to kill somebody?
Yes.
Because you just hurt the wise man. And I'm just like...
I was expecting Roman's music to hit right there.
That would have been great.
Like, I was expecting it, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh wait, Triple H era, slow build. It's not going to happen yet, but it's coming.
Now, I heard that he's planning to make a return this month yet.
Okay.
So we've got a whole month to anxiously anticipate that. I also heard somebody else saying, what if Brock Lesnar made his return and was peeved off about Paul, and then Roman returns, and then those two just team up against the 2.0. I was like, either way, whatever they're doing, it's working. I'm watching.
Yeah, I think I saw one that it was like Bloodline 2.0 versus Paul's guys, and it was Roman, Brock Lesnar, and CM Punk.
That's it.
Yeah. Although, how cool would it be if when we see Roman, it's not actually at the event, but it's in Paul's hospital room.
Ooh.
With a conversation. Like...
Or you see Paul Heyman laying in the bed, sound asleep, and then you just see the back of Roman standing at the window looking into his room. No other words, just that.
Yeah.
Just that.
That could be cool. Yeah, there's a lot of ways that they can go. I don't know how they're going to go, but it is so fun to watch. It is just so good. Like, the entire storyline, the way they're building up, just loving it. It and everything with the Wyatt Six. Like, if all they're going to do is have the smoke fill the arena and Chad Gable, like, piddle himself and go running away, and, Nikki Cross drop a little treasure chest on Michael Cole's desk. If that's what they're going to do, keep doing that week in and week out. I'm enjoying these vignettes. Like, they're just fun to watch.
I thought Josh was coming out with a euphemism about Nikki Cross dropping a treasure chest on Cole's desk, and I was like, no.
Nope, can't think that far.
Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that.
So it's been, and that whole thing has been so good. And it was also nice because like last week where all we saw really was Nikki Cross, but then this week we wind up seeing a couple others. I mean, it looked like we saw Eric Rowan, and then the other one I couldn't quite tell, or was it both? Like I can't quite tell who all.
3?
Maybe.
No.
I think there was 3. I think there was
Could
3.
be. I don't know. I was
either
hopped
way-
up on cold medicine, so I was seeing in and out of blinking eyes.
You were hallucinating off of NyQuil.
It could have been. And
That's-
the Wyatt Six
That's
will
not
cause
Powerade
even more.
he's drinking.
Yeah.
No, the Wyatt Six. That's been some pretty entertaining stuff. Now, as anxious as I am to see them get to some action on that, I like the build up. I like
Yeah.
the build up, and I got to remember back in the day of like the Attitude Era when we had a interview between Mick Foley and all of his different personalities and JR, but they even dragged that out for 2 weeks,
Right.
maybe 2 or 3 weeks of just the interview. And it's like, we can take our time with this. We can
Yeah.
take our time with this. And my only confusion, I guess, with it is why is Chad Gable the only one that's getting all scurred? Isn't pretty much everybody should be scared about this whole situation, have no idea who they're after or what their plan is or what their reasoning or motives?
Well, if
One
you go
would
back and look
think-
at the original one, there was like Braun Strowman was laying there at one point.
Mhm.
There was more than just Chad Gable that was laying there. It's just
Right.
they focused on Chad Gable with the 22 thing. So they focused on him more so than anybody else. You just happen to see like, what was it, like Braun Strowman and Dragunov, I think, was there at one point. So yeah, there's
know.
several people that you wouldn't have expected there.
I saw an interview with Braun Strowman, and they asked him about that. They said, "What'd you think about the Wyatt Six return?" And he says, "Hey, I'm just glad that I chased the Judgment Day out of the arena because I wasn't even there for it." He said, "I know people thought that was me laying down, but I wasn't even in the arena." He's like, "I didn't find out about it till the next morning when everybody said that I got beat up."
I don't know. I saw the picture. It sure looked like him.
I thought
It
it
sure
did
looked
too, but that was from a recent interview that I caught. That somebody had said that, or he was interviewing, asking him, and that's what he said.
It was a mini-size version.
Another person with a skullet.
I would have really wondered why they went after Braun though, especially with this being like the Wyatt Six and him being part of the original Wyatt family. It's like
Right.
that wouldn't have made sense to go after him. But yeah, I still thought it was. It is interesting. Why are they only really going after Chad? Although Jay's been in the backstage and he's mentioned several times, I don't want none. You can have the Fireflies back. I won't. Nope. I've got no problems, no beef. Basically, leave me alone. And it does seem to happen around the time that Jay's around. So why? What is that? Is there something to it in the Triple H regime where everything matters? I'm not sure.
I don't know, but they're really making everybody like pay attention, even during little segments that you maybe don't think are really that important, because they've been planting seeds and Easter eggs all over the place here and there. Somebody did a clip, the bunny rabbit, in one of the Chad Gable backstage things before they showed up. The bunny rabbit was like in the background, hiding underneath one of the semi trucks when you zoom in. And I was like, man, you gotta pay attention to everything. You have no idea what the heck you're missing.
Yeah.
And for those nerds of us that are like, ooh, I want to know some inside stuff.
I like to
that
see the
really
Easter
plays
eggs.
to that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it was like, what was it last week when they were walking in and on the semi trailer, it was Alexa Bliss, and it maybe it was just me, but it seemed like her picture just seemed to be lit a little bit different from the others on that.
And it makes those of us that think we're smarter than we maybe are speculate on things that are more speculative.
Right.
I saw somebody jumping in because there was a silhouette of a woman wearing some striped pants. And they're like, this woman had her hair done up like Alexa Bliss, but wearing the striped pants of the Fiend. And so could that be, you know what? Someone back there is sitting there going, hey, watch, we're going to do this, and watch people on the internet freak out. Here, I got an idea. Check this out. Let's watch these little crazy guys go crazy.
They probably are. Hey, here's one one question I've got for you guys, okay? Sticking with the Wyatt Six stuff. Mark Henry had come out and had said on Busted Open that he thought it was a bad decision for those guys to be out of character at a Whataburger and taking pictures with fans. I get what he's saying. Like, I definitely get the protect the business, protect the gimmick, especially 20, 30, 40 years ago. In today's day and age, is it really going to do any harm? Because that was kind of what I was gathering from what he was saying. Is like, hey, this can hurt the character because you're out of gimmick. Instead, you should have just ordered and drive through and sat in the parking lot and ate your burgers away from people.
But unless you're the guys, unless you're like you guys and myself, and we always read the latest news and we watch the little videos from other people on YouTube and, you know, podcasts and stuff, just the average fan who's watching it, they don't know that it's Eric Rowan. They don't know that it's Nikki Cross. They don't know who it is yet because they have their masks on. They know that it's Abigail. They know it's the rabbit. They know it's the long nose, whatever he is. You know, the guy from Beetlejuice is what he looks like. But, you know,
Buzzard, yeah.
That's what they know. They don't know who it is. So for him to come out and say, you know, you can't do that. You can't be out of character. What character? The average fan may not even know who they are. All they
even
know,
if they
up until last night, they even know that Bo Dallas was Uncle Howdy.
Right. Even if they did know, here's the other part of it. It's like, how many of your average wrestling fans that are watching Monday nights are paying attention to what's going on the internet and seeing a selfie that somebody posted and that wound up hitting all of the wrestling news sites? Like, you're only going to get the internet wrestling community, and that they're going to pay attention to that. And then, do we even care? Like, nope. I don't. I'm like, cool, you're still a human being, and I get that you're playing a character. I don't want to see you, you know, out at Raw, you know, just setting up in the bleachers in T-shirts and shorts, you know, out of gimmick. But in public,
I can see playing the point counterpoint, the devil's advocate on that. How many people are really going to be looking at the picture in the first place? Pretty much everybody that's hopping on and Googling Wyatt Six and scrolling more than 3 clicks. Anybody that clicks on pictures, because there's so few appearances or so little footage of the Wyatt Six collectively together that isn't the same still shot from their first appearance. So then when they click on those images, they're going to see here this thing from Whataburger. Yeah. And so that kind of, I can see where Mark Henry is coming from. The other aspect of that is, would you be as much of a fan of MJF's work and his persona if every every personal appearance, he was just a sweet old happy-go-lucky guy. But the fact that he's plays the heel 24/7, lives it, it kind of you kind of buy into him a little bit more because that what does he say? He's like, I am your
Scumbag.
whatever
Scumbag.
Yeah. That's it. I am your scumbag, because he's a scumbag to everybody. Don't matter if you're a 4-year-old quadriplegic, he's gonna be the same jerk to him as he is to the blonde over here, or the guy in the 3-piece suit, or Tony Khan. I mean, you don't care. But that's so I can see either way. I can see either argument. I prefer back in the day when kayfabe was alive, because I bought into it a little bit more. It was easier for me to suspend my disbelief, to buy into these characters, as opposed to now where NXT is this little cookie cutter and nobody's believable. And so I can't watch because I don't believe anybody is doing anything or is worth watching. However, MJF comes out, and Timeless Tony Storm comes out, and the Wyatt Six, and even Dirty Dom coming out, and the crowd just hating on him so much because they just want to peel that stupid little caterpillar off his lip. I mean, it's just it's good stuff.
I
The reason
don't know
why we love the Paul Heyman thing is because Paul Heyman did such an amazing job at getting us to believe.
Yeah.
It wasn't about the flippy flip and the moves. It was about get us to believe. And when you take me out of believing, I mean, I know that Keanu Reeves cannot mow down a million different Russian mafia dudes,
right.
but
John
for
Wick
that
can.
2 hours of John Wick, don't tell me it's Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves, shut
Right.
up. Leave me alone. That's John Wick. Leave me alone.
Yeah. And I think my thought is just like, I get it, where pre-internet, Mark Henry is 100% right. Like, live the gimmick.
Sure.
But with internet, our entire world has changed. Like, I look back even on, like, Undertaker's character. And when post-internet, when Undertaker truly saw a surge, in my opinion, of his character, where there was, like, a refresh and a renewal to who he was, it was when Mark Calloway started showing up and making public appearances at UFC to support Brock Lesnar. When he started being seen without, hair down and big hat and hood, when all of a sudden this is Mark Calloway being out there, he became a real person. It added an extra layer and depth to what he was doing, because then he's able to bring some of that extra depth back in, tap into other aspects of it. So that's where it's like, I don't know if Undertaker would have seen that little bit of resurgence in what he was able to do had he not opened himself up to this new world where it's okay to be out there. People understand this is a show, and yes, we're suspending our disbelief, but it's during the show. Like, it's not like we're living 24/7 thinking that these people that showed up are just spooky characters. That may be my biggest issue with the whole Wyatt Six thing, is how Michael Cole is playing it completely kayfabe. When he's like, this thing, whatever it is, this witch looking, I don't know who she is, but she looks kind of familiar. It's like, Cole, you've been the ring announcer. We all know who it is. Why are you playing dumb? It's like, say it in a different way. I get that you don't want to reveal it to us, but don't play so dumb that it makes us feel like you think we're dumb. Because we already know, and we know that you know. So just play it off.
I get where you're coming from. However, in reference to The Undertaker, who, by the way, is the greatest character in wrestling.
Yep.
I mean, longest running constantly evolving, but still the Undertaker,
Mhm.
greatest character in wrestling history, in my opinion. Um, with that, I don't think his personal appearances, out of character, really had as big of impact as contributing to his character or his persona, due to the fact that he still had done the American Badass gimmick, which was still part of Undertaker, but yet never did an interview during or after that until he was looking at retiring. And when he was retiring, that's when the interviews started and you started seeing who Mark Calloway was. I don't think it was necessarily contributing nor taking away, but when he came out, it was very, he wasn't doing photo ops with fans. He wasn't caught at Whataburger hanging out with his buddies in a big cheesy grin. Now there are photos of him and the Clique and the BSK and whatnot all back in the day, but those again weren't released until much later in his career as things were winding down. So
Yeah, but I mean, you've got
personal take.
The Undertaker showing up at UFC, and with a big cheesy grin on his face, high-fiving and cheering on Brock Lesnar. Like, that's not him staying in gimmick. It didn't hurt him at all, and that's kind of the argument, is like, I don't think that those guys showing up at Whataburger and taking a photo with a fan is going to hurt at all.
Oh, I don't think it's going to hurt. Yeah. I don't think it's going to hurt. I'm just saying I can see where
I get what he's saying,
coming from,
especially 30 years ago.
And from a personal standpoint, it served no purpose to go into the Whataburger. Go through the drive-through. Keep the gimmick going a little bit more, and just add a little something. Don't even throw a monkey wrench in the Jello if it's not needed.
Fair enough. All right,
that's all.
Well, hey, should we get to some predictions?
Before we do,
please
shout out to, we have a new listener, my main man from the Midas that helped me out with my tires last weekend. We got to chit-chatting some wrestling a little bit, and we were talking about the wrestling related podcast. He's joining, so if you're on, welcome.
Fantastic.
Anybody else that comes on, ask some questions. Bring up some topics that you want us to talk about. Insult us, yell at us. I don't care.
We'll take it all.
Insult them. Don't yell at me.
Yay.
All right, so we've got Money in the Bank coming up on Saturday. I think there's also an NXT PLE on Sunday, but I don't know anything about that because it's NXT and I don't pay attention.
Whatever.
But Yeet in the Bank, the Money in the Bank, unlike AEW and NJPW's Forbidden Door, there will not be 15 matches. We will only have 5.
Ooh.
So
they're really going all out with 5.
Hey, the last few pay-per-views or PLEs, they've only had 5. So that seems to be their go-to, kind of what they're doing, and hey, it's working. So I'll take it.
I like them.
Especially when I only have to pay like $3 or $6 or $8, whatever it is, for a monthly subscription to Peacock. So that works. All right, let's get through some of these. I know we're going to have some talking as we go down through. We'll start out. Hey, when you only got 5 matches, they're all pretty heavy matches. Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship. We wound up seeing those guys last night. If you had asked me before last night who I thought was going to win, I would have said it was a open and shut case and it was going to be Braun Breaker. But last night they started to drop in a little bit of, is Braun Breaker actually indestructible? Or is he just going to being too aggressive, and can Sami pull it out? And then I was like, oh, hey, Sami got the better of him. And then all of a sudden, no, he didn't. Braun still got the better of him. So, with all that being said, I think that Braun is definitely on the rise. I think that they are pushing him I think that it makes total sense that he would win. And if I was going to do what I think should happen, then I would say Braun Breaker. But I'm going to go with what I want to happen, and I want Sami Zayn to win because I want to see Chad Gable get another shot at Sami's title. That's what I want to happen. I don't want Braun Breaker to win this. So I'm going with Sami Zayn.
You're really going with what you want this time around.
I'm going with what I want. I want Sami to win.
I didn't win. Now I'm changing everything.
Okay, so it's my turn. Braun Breaker ate them stairs last night. I will say that. You know, there's one thing to put on a show, and there's another thing to get a little careless. He almost took it into his head there. Yeah. I will say that. But who do I think is going to win? I'm going with history, and history usually shows that the big, not always, but typically the big interaction right before a pay-per-view, whoever is standing up holding the belt will not be holding the belt at the pay-per-view. I'm going with Sami Zayn. I think he's going to win it because Braun Breaker stood above him holding the belt up high. I think Sami's going to win it.
Ooh. I didn't even pay attention to that.
I did. And I agree with Dustin. And also the fact that, big guys historically do get the best of people, so on and so forth, but then get their upcomings. Just ask any number of them, Ryback, Goldberg, et cetera. How shall we continue? But based for the same reasons that Dustin's saying. I mean, plus we are in the Triple H regime, so things can go a little bit longer. He likes the slow build. He likes the longer matches, which is why we only have 5 instead of 26. And then, Sammy's really entertaining as a champion, and I don't see the title hurting or helping Braun Breaker at all. Either way, I think it does absolutely nothing for him, does absolutely nothing for the title at this point. We just come off a really long run. I doubt with a title belt. I really doubt that Trips is going to want to start playing musical chairs with the title anytime soon.
So what we're saying is that what I want to happen may actually be what makes sense to happen.
Other than Chad Gable's got too many things going on his own plate, he doesn't know who Sami is at this point.
Chad Gable is involved in everything. Think about that for a second. What is he not involved in?
He's done with his IC task right now.
Right now he's trying not to, pee himself with all the Wyatt Six, and he's still trying to make nice with the Alpha Academy and
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, he's too much.
Yep. All right.
Next year.
Why is this not wanting to pull up the next one? There we go.
Hi-yo.
All right. We have got
ladies.
the ladies, women, or Money in the Bank. Io Sky, Lyra Valkyria, Tiffany Stratton, Naomi, Zoe Stark, and Chelsea Green. Dustin, what say you?
Okay, so before I get in my pick, I have one quick question. What do y'all feel about Chelsea Green wanting to bring back the Divas title?
I absolutely love it. If it's Chelsea Green.
Love it.
If it's anybody but Chelsea Green, I hate it.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so
I would be.
Bank.
You asked a question. I want to answer.
I did. Go for it.
I would be okay if she were to win the belt and then change it while she's holding it, that then gets changed back when she was it. That she just reintroduces it as she's the one holding it. So that's it. That's all I had.
Makes sense. Okay, so what did we decide? Are we doing what we think or what we want?
That's up to you. I'm doing what I want.
Okay.
Do what works for you.
I really don't have a reason why, but I'm going with Tiffany Stratton.
Okay.
I have no reason why. Just that's the one I'm picking.
Hey, I honestly think that
Okay, let me tell you why.
Tiffany Stratton makes a
Okay.
ton of sense.
Let me explain why. Chelsea Green doesn't need anything. Okay, she's good with it. She doesn't need a title. She doesn't need the Divas title. She doesn't need the Money in the Bank. Zoe
Correct.
Stark, she needs something. Money in the Bank ain't it. She needs something else. So she needs to focus on a women's tag if it comes up, that type of thing with Shayna Baszler. Naomi's got her Neon. She doesn't need anything. Valkyrie's too new. She's not going to get her title anytime soon, I don't believe. And Io Sky just came off her title run. I'm going with Tiffany Stratton. There you go.
Fair enough.
Get out of my head. This is the second match. The exact same thing and for the exact same reasons too. I'm sitting here looking at it going, she's the only one where I could see it benefiting her and building drama.
Yep.
She just needs one little thing to give her a reason to go after it, and
It
the rest
feels
of them,
like it's Tiffy time.
I mean, and she's been performing.
So good.
I mean, so good. How could you not? I mean, some of the others are doing really good. Some of them are kind of need to do something different, but man, it works for her.
Yep. Okay.
So you're picking Tiffany as well?
Yeah. You and I are going to need a tiebreaker at the end of this thing.
Well, and I told you guys I am picking what I want, and every single woman on there needs the Money in the Bank except for Chelsea Green. But I want Chelsea Green to win the Money in the Bank. I want her to win it because it will be must-see TV. To see her, I mean, how long could you drag out her continually trying to win and cash it in, only to like slip and fall on her own banana peel and keeps messing up and can't actually get it done? Like, that would be hilarious. And then when she actually does it,
Damian Priest.
The what?
They did that with Damian Priest.
Yeah, but Damian Priest
like 4 or
wasn't
5
a
times.
comedy character, so it just looked sad.
Sure.
Chelsea is a comedy character, and it would be hilarious. And it would be so hilarious if she winds up actually cashing it in and winds up making it an official Divas Championship. Like, that would be even better. So I picked Chelsea Green.
Okay.
Good, making good points.
Yep. Okay. We'll get to the guys. The men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Drew McIntyre, Jey Uso, Andrade, LA Knight, Chad Gable, and Carmelo Hayes. Corey, you're up.
Okay.
Dustin can't be in your head this time.
I'm up. Thank goodness. Okay, so I was just thinking a moment ago that there's a strong possibility that none of us are going to get any points in these last 2 matches.
Correct.
I mean, absolutely nothing. So, okay, from the people on there, yeah, I'm going to say it's going to be Yeet in the Bank.
Yeet in the Bank.
The fact of the matter is I mean, I don't see anybody else needing it or wanting it, or I suppose they all want it. I mean, Carmelo, why? Andrade, why? Gable's got so many different things going on at the same time. It doesn't really serve a purpose there. LA Knight's going to go get that U.S. title. So, and then Drew is he going after a title? Is he going after Punk? I mean, what's going on there? What is the Uso had going on in the last month? Let's give him something to get him going over the hump a little bit until he gets another feud or something.
Okay.
Josh?
Yeah, that would be to you, Josh.
So
You're
me,
like, okay.
yeah, to figure out what I wanted, I have to think about long term. What do I want? I don't want Chad Gable to get it because he'll go after something. I'm enjoying the storyline that he's got. I don't want Jey Uso to get it because I want to see Jey reunite with Jimmy. I don't care if Andrade gets it because they're not doing anything with him, so I don't really care on that. Do I want LA Knight to get it? Not really, because I want LA Knight to go after the U.S. title. Do I want Drew to get it? Maybe. I do kind of like the idea of doing that, but I guess what I would really want to see is Drew not get it even more, especially if there was somehow some more Punk interference. Would just be hilarious. Even though I think it's overplayed, why not? I actually want Carmelo Hayes to get it. Because what I think would be fun is if Carmelo Hayes interrupts at SummerSlam LA Knight versus Logan Paul. And he winds up being the first person to successfully cash in the Money in the Bank on a secondary title. It's been attempted once before by Austin Theory, and it was on the U.S. title, but Austin was unsuccessful. I think Carmelo actually makes history, becoming the first person to use it. So that's what I want. It'd be even better if he did it actually at the same event. If like Logan Paul comes out and cost LA Knight from getting the belt, Carmelo gets it and then cashes it in on Logan Paul right there. That'd be hilarious. So I'm going with Carmelo Hayes because I want it.
Okay.
All right, let me talk to you.
Yeah.
So now this time Josh is in my head because I'm looking at these guys. I'm thinking, kind of like what Corey has been saying and I've been saying, who needs something to build them up? People either need a belt to help establish them, help give them something, or the belt needs that person.
Yeah.
I think both AEW and WWE have dropped the ball on Andrade. WWE's done it twice now, which just makes me sick to my stomach. I think he is very underrated for what he does. He needs something, and what he needs to do is get out of the WWE. I know he went back. A lot of it's probably for his wife, and I get that. But I think he had a better shot in AEW of doing something.
He's not good on the mic.
Again,
he needs a manager. He is excellent in ring. He's one of the best they've got in ring. He just needs somebody to be able to do the mic work for him.
Put Paul Heyman over with him. Okay, so yeah, Jey Uso. It's going to be a bloodline thing coming up. It's a matter of when, but it's going to happen. Chad Gable doesn't need anything. Even LA Knight doesn't need anything. And the only person on that, Drew doesn't need anything. The only person that needs something, and they're trying to push him, is Carmelo. But he's just, he's lacking something. Right. So he's going to need to win the Money in the Bank to turn around and have something to help push him as far as a character. So Carmelo Hayes.
All right. You said let me talk to you, so I went ahead and I clicked LA Knight, but I'll move that one.
See the swerve?
Yeah, because I don't think I don't think Carmelo makes as much sense. I made a good argument for it. I just don't think it makes as much sense. But whereas LA getting it, he doesn't have to wait for Logan Paul to actually give him the title. He can just claim it anytime he wants.
That's true.
As Josh was talking about what he wants to happen and whatnot, he was talking about Drew, and I was like, oh, what if Drew won Money in the Bank, then cashed in on Damian, but then that got taken away from him by Punk?
I think Punk's going to come in and keep Drew from winning it on this one. I really do.
Yeah, unless he's like in a hospital somewhere sipping through a straw.
He's not.
And then we just see AJ Lee come back to get her bracelet.
He's finishing his arm.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, next match.
All right, next matchup is the Bloodline 2.0 against Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens. Going with what I want. I actually want the Bloodline.
No, you didn't. Corey did. Go ahead.
Corey did. I want the Bloodline 2.0 to win this one. And I want them to win this one because I think I mentioned it earlier. They need a strong win. And what I really want to see is Solo actually pin Cody so he can look at Roman and say, I did what you didn't. I want to see that. Now, I don't know if it's beneficial what people are actually going to be a part of this. What 3 of the 4? I haven't heard officially, so it could be any faction or any formation of it. I'm not sure. It would make sense that it's Solo and the Tongans, probably with a little bit of Jacob Fatu interference. But either way, Bloodline 2.0 is my pick.
This one I'm not sure about. What I would like to happen is obviously I'd like to see Cody, Randy, and Kevin win, but does it make sense? I think making sense of the Bloodline carrying on is going to make them get a bigger head. It's going to feed more into the whole, okay, we just put out Paul Heyman. Now we're taking these 3 out. And, kind of like you said, even though, yeah, Roman beat Cody once before, but he beat him with help.
Right.
So, I don't know.
Could this be where, I don't know, Roman shows up? Or
I don't
Jimmy
think so. I don't think
shows
he's going
up.
to show up at Money in the Bank. Maybe it's a 3-on-4, and then all of a sudden Jimmy comes. No, that's not going to happen. Ooh, man. Yeah, I'm going to go. If I had a
It gets
coin in
so
my pocket,
hard.
I'd flip it. I'm going to go with the Bloodline
Okay.
2.0. I don't know why. I just
Because you want to.
Yeah.
Corey,
Yeah.
what say you?
Yeah, I think it's going to be the Bloodline.
All right.
Not sure how, why, and all that jazz, or who does what, but yeah. It just makes more sense to drag things out a little bit more, I guess.
Yeah.
And I don't see Roman making an appearance this early. I think they, give him a few more weeks after that. Give it SummerSlam. Have him come out the week before SummerSlam or 2 weeks. Or
I think
whatever.
SummerSlam is a good thing, especially if this winds up. Because, can you imagine Solo getting the pin on Cody and then saying, I already pinned you once, how about you put the title on the line? And then we get Cody versus Solo at SummerSlam, and Roman comes out and prevents him from getting it.
So what if, we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, what if it's not Jimmy that comes back, but since Paul Heyman got hurt and it's 3 against 4, what if it is Brock Lesnar showing up as a 4th? That changes the whole dynamics of the match.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
All right.
It's kind of
We've
interesting.
already put our picks in.
All right. We're all down for the Bloodline. All right. Final match of the night is the Heavyweight Championship, the World Championship. Damian Priest versus Seth Rollins. If Seth loses, Seth can no longer have a title shot. If Damian loses, he's out of the Judgment Day. Dustin, your pick.
For me, this was the easiest pick of the night. Seth Rollins. Damian's already trying to separate himself with him and Finn Balor kind of getting into some words last night, grabbing Finn and pulling him off of Seth, and the look on his face and everything. They're looking for a reason. So it's been a good, really short run there for you, Damian, but I think Seth's going to win it. And besides that, going into SummerSlam, Gunther and Seth, Gunther and Damian. I think Gunther and Seth's going to be a better matchup.
I agree. Gunther and Seth looks like a better matchup.
Yeah. So Seth Rollins.
All right. Seth for you. Corey?
Same thing for the same reasons.
Same thing for the same reasons.
Copycat.
Oh my goodness. Dustin and I have a
He's
couple
wanting to hold on to that,
different choices, don't we?
And I said,
I mean,
I'm going to do what I want, and I don't want Seth to win it. I want Damian to win it, just because I am enjoying the Judgment Day squabbling, and I want it to drag out, because I'm enjoying all of those segments. And what I really want to happen is I want Rhea to come back at Money in the Bank, and I want her to smooth things over so that nothing happens, and yes, Damian keeps the title.
And
That's
so then Seth can't go for the title.
And then Seth can't go for the title. Not while Damian's got it. Yep.
So then he does what?
Don't know.
Pick another fight.
Okay. We thought that out. Okay, got it.
I told you I'm not doing what makes sense. I'm doing what I want.
Right.
And I'm enjoying the Judgment Day friction. And I totally agree that they are going to break up. It's going to happen. I just don't want it to happen yet. I want it to drag out a little bit more.
And if it doesn't happen this round with Damian dropping off, then it's going to be a bigger deal when Rhea comes back. Yeah.
And here's another thing. I would
still
rather
be a big deal.
Here's another want to. I do think I agree. At SummerSlam, Gunther versus Seth is a bigger match than Gunther versus Damian. But I would rather see Seth lose this one, so that way Seth has a chance to then face Gunther later. Because I think if Seth goes in, I don't care who it is, whether it's Gunther or Damian, or whether it's Seth or Damian, at SummerSlam, Gunther's winning. Like, that's just all there is to it. Gunther is winning at SummerSlam. So I would rather him beat Damian than beat Seth. Because I would rather it set up for a Seth versus Gunther later on to have a little bit of a feud. So, again, what I want. In the meantime, I have no idea what Seth does. Go home and hang around with Becky some more. I no clue. But there we go.
That's it.
There's our predictions.
Pre-show matches.
What?
Are there any pre-show matches or anything?
Not that I've. When was the last time that WWE did a pre-show match?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah,
I can't remember at all.
Didn't.
It has been a long time if they have. So there we go. Predictions are in.
It was last time or the time before? Last PLE or the one before? And it was the women's tag that was part of a pre-show thing.
Oh, the time before King and Queen of the Ring.
That's what it was.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, because the other ones they've only done 5 on the PLEs, and they only did that King and Queen of the Ring. That was the first time in like a year or year and a half that they had done a pre-show match. They used to do them a lot more.
Well, the Saudis paid a lot of money for that show, so
this is true. Give them an extra match.
Give them something.
So there we go.
If they do it, then we'll just put our picks in then.
It looks like I will probably get 2 points for Saturday. 2 out of 5 is what it's looking like I'm going to get. So we will see. But
real quick, what matches are Dustin and I different
on? You and Dustin are different on the men's match. The men's Money in the Bank.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh, crap.
Hey, tie goes to the winner. So if it's a draw, you retain. If it's a draw, you retain the title, Corey.
You know what? I almost would prefer that because it's very, very Ric Flair time limit draw from back in the day.
It is. We got to go with the wrestling rules.
I'd have to buy myself a belt.
I'm just going to keep my crown because I think it's funny looking. So
I think you're funny looking.
that is true. All right. Well, that's all we got for this week. If you guys have got any topics you wanted us to discuss in an upcoming episode of the Wrestling Warrior Podcast, let us know. Anything else you guys got as we sign off?
Nope.
Go team.
All right. See you
Happy
next
4th of
week.
July.